As part of earlier section or module where we have gone to the details about setting up tools for data engineering, we have taken care of setting up Postgres database server and also pgAdmin. In this section or module, we'll actually go to the details about setting up application tables and data in Postgres database within Postgres database server so that we can explore details with respect to writing different types of queries. But before getting into those details, let's make sure we understand what Postgres database server is and also what Postgres database is and also why we are using pgAdmin. You need to understand these important details so that you feel comfortable with respect to learning SQL using Postgres as a database technology. Postgres is RDBMS database technology. First, we typically get a server or desktop. In this case, we have used desktop. In that server or desktop, we typically set up the Postgres database server. There are different versions of Postgres database server. As of now, the latest version is 15, but as part of the material, we have used 14. In future, it can be 16, 17, or it can be anything. When we set up Postgres on top of Windows or Mac or Linux, we have set up something called as Postgres database server, which is of a specific version. It can be 14 or 15 or whatever is latest by the time you go through the course. When it comes to Postgres database server, it is a multi-tenant database server. It means we can have multiple databases in it. When we set up Postgres database server, by default, we'll get one database. The name of the database is nothing but Postgres. It is a special database. Also, we'll get one user by name Postgres. We might have set the password for that when we set up the Postgres database server using Windows or Mac. So as part of Postgres database server, we'll have multiple databases set up. Let me expand this. Let me clean this up a little bit. Let me specify Postgres database server here. In this, we'll have multiple databases. There'll be one by default. It is nothing but Postgres, which is a special database. Depending upon our requirement, we might end up adding more databases into this Postgres database server. So we'll have multiple databases typically in one single Postgres database server. We'll be creating something called as itversity_retail_db. For now, I'm just saying retail_db. If your organization have multiple applications such as HR, vendor management system, etc., there might be databases for each of those applications in the same Postgres database server if they decide to go with the same Postgres database server. Like this, you can have as many database servers as you want. Now, you need to interact with these Postgres databases. To interact with these Postgres databases, you need to have clients. That is where pgAdmin comes into picture. pgAdmin is nothing but IDE. IDE stands for Integrated Development Environment. It is tightly integrated with Postgres. It will be easy for you to write queries against Postgres databases and run those queries using pgAdmin. pgAdmin is just a client or tool which can connect to Postgres databases to simplify writing queries and running those queries. So we have even set up pgAdmin along with the Postgres database server earlier. This pgAdmin is typically used to connect to these databases and run queries. We can also write and run queries. Now let me say pgAdmin here. For each of the databases you have, you can establish connections so that you can isolate your work. For example, if you wanted to perform any system tasks using pgAdmin, you'll be connecting to Postgres and you'll perform system tasks. You'll be logging in using Postgres as user. When it comes to taking care of creating tables or running queries against the tables that are related to retail.db, you'll be connecting to retail_db database. Now let me go to my pgAdmin. As of now, you can see there is only one connection. If you have connections to two databases within same database server, you will see servers as 2 here. For this one server or connection, you can see the details are like this. This is the name for the connection. The name is within the scope of this tool. We have to give name to each and every connection. The name that I have given is nothing but PostgreSQL 14. If I wanted to see the properties of this connection, I should be able to right click and click on properties. Now I should be able to go to connection and I should be able to see the details. If you look at the details, you have 4 details, 4 very, very important details. They are nothing but hostname/address, then port, then database, then username. In this case, the host name or address is nothing but localhost. The port is nothing but 5432. The database is nothing but Postgres. The username is nothing but Postgres. I will talk about localhost very soon. Also, I will talk about port very soon. For now, you can see that when it comes to this connection, I'm using Postgres as both username and database. It means we are connecting to the system database. We should be able to perform system tasks. What are the system tasks? Creating other databases, creating other users, granting permissions on databases to the users. All these are considered as system tasks. To perform any of those system tasks, we typically log in using Postgres. As developers, except in our local environments, we typically don't log in into the other databases related to UAT, production, etc. using Postgres as user. Will not be having the permissions. Only the DBS will be having the permissions. That being said, as of now, we have one connection pointing to this one. Let me actually highlight that. And it is connecting to this database in this Postgres database server. Keep in mind that both pgAdmin and Postgres database server are running on same machine. That's why we have localhost when it comes to host name or server name. I'll cover a bit more details with respect to host name and port number in the next lecture. Now, if I create a new database and if I wanted to connect to only to that database with a specific user, then I'll be having a new connection similar to this. For example, very soon we'll be creating a database by name retail_db along with user retail_user. You might have ITversity prefix, but you'll be having a database by name retail_db and user by name retail_user. You'll also grant permissions on retail_db to retail_user. Once we take care of those tasks, we use retail_user as username and retail_db as a database name to connect to retail_db so that we can take care of creating application tables, populate data into the tables, so on and so forth. Once we set up and once we add new connection, it will be something like this. The connection name can be anything. Let me say the connection name is Postgres retail user, because here I wanted to specify the connection name, not the actual username. The actual username will be based on the user which we are going to use as part of the connection details. Now, using this connection, I will be willing to connect to this database. When it comes to this connection, the name is nothing but Postgres 14 or something. Let me review the details here. It is PostgreSQL 14. So this is connection name. So using this connection, we are connecting to Postgres database. What is the user using which we are connecting to? It is nothing but Postgres. In this case, we will be using retail_user. The name can be anything, but the username should be this one and database should be this one. If we create a database with this name, user with this name, and grant permissions on this database to this user. This is how we should be using pgAdmin to connect to different databases in Postgres database server to take care of our regular tasks.